right. So this is what, Sock and Cold episode 2, 3.
Episode the 2. Third one, but it's episode 2. Yeah.
Right. And so today we've got a couple of really interesting topics here. The first of which being the ESA declared private Minecraft and Call of Duty servers illegal comparative to a black market. I don't know how much you saw about this, or if you even saw the original clip. Did you see the original clip?
So I don't think I watched like the actual video of it, but I did hear about this like when it happened. I didn't look super deep into it, but the general concept being that like they proclaim that private servers and things like that are effectively, like they kind of said it was like IP theft effectively, right? Like you are using, you know, this company's intellectual property, this company's game for your own personal use, which is kind of what a game is for, actually. But yeah, I think that was. Am I hitting the nail on the head there? Is it kind of that?
So yeah, it's kind of that. It's a little more intricate though. So it wasn't the ESA declaring this on their own. This was actually something that was said by one of the higher ups at the ESA at a Stop Killing Games related I guess conference that was happening with what do you call it, representatives, you know, people in the government, and it was open to the public, and so one of people from ESA came and they spoke as a member of the public, saying all this, and the one of the representatives basically like chimed in and was like, oh, so this is like a black market. And the person from the ESA said, yes, absolutely. And this got me really upset. I mean, it's one thing, I think, if you're like hijacking servers, or if there's not like open, you know, server software that's being posted, and obviously with the intent of, hey, host your own servers. It's another thing when it's something like Minecraft, where the software is not just freely available, it's distributed by the people who make the game. Like, what is your problem?
Ugh. Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, it seems like something that someone would say. It sounds very corporate, obviously, but also just like very, I mean, I don't want to just be mean and say ignorant, but it does sound ignorant as to what like private servers effectively really are. Because I mean, like you said, like I'm sure there's some situation where, yes, if you are, you know, actively like taking from, you know, this very prominent online game that has its own thing going on, but like there's so many situations where like if there aren't private servers of a game, there's not a game effectively, you know? I mean, like, and in that case, it's never really a situation where I would consider it any kind of theft, or, you know, it's never good. It's never a friggin' black market. I mean, that's a very overdramatic way of putting it, I think, regardless, but
right. And
it seems very silly.
Yeah, and the person from the ESA basically said, like, Microsoft is currently in hot water for not like dealing with the Minecraft server issue. Are you familiar with like the gambling on Minecraft servers and things like that?
No, but that sounds like a thing that would be happening.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So private Minecraft servers are, or I guess, you know, custom hosted but private Minecraft servers are basically, they have like gambling on them. You can pay real money to get potentially like some reward in game, some cosmetic, some very similar to like CSGO.
It's like CSGO kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, Minecraft's in a lot of hot water because, well, Microsoft and Minecraft, but because they're just not doing anything, right? Their EULA doesn't say anything about like, don't do this. Their, you know, terms of service, nothing. And so they're in a lot of hot water for that. However, I don't see the relation between that and hosting any private servers at all. Right? Like, I can't be the crazy
Right.
one here. It's like, this is totally non sequitur, entirely different issue.
Right, because that is someone abusing a private server, whereas, like fucking Hypixel is just like, is that still a thing? I don't remember. I don't know. That
Probably.
sounds like it was a big Minecraft server back in the day, I think. But like shit like that is, just people playing Minecraft, right? I mean, I don't know. So I feel like, you could say, yes, it's wrong to create a private Minecraft server that is actually an underground casino where people are spending, mom and dad's money on fucking capes and skins and shit or whatever, however it works. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad, pretty morally bad. But like, to sort of parlay that into a broader talk about private servers in general seems very silly and very disingenuous. If that's what they're doing, yeah.
Yeah, and that seems to be what they're trying to do. And I was so surprised at all of this. And there was a video that came out pretty much at the height of this story, from Gamers Nexus. I don't know if you're familiar. They're a gaming hardware kind of review channel. They do a lot of stuff with PC gaming, and recently they've had very outspoken sort of opposition to things like AI, because it's been increasing the prices of hardware so drastically.
Right.
And so they spoke on this, and it came to my attention that ESA is entirely composed of bigwigs from existing corporations, existing like gaming corporations, Activision, Microsoft, Sony. It's made up of people from those. And not only that, but they lobby the government. They lobby. It is an entire like corrupt organization, basically. It's crazy.
Right. So this isn't like some kind of activist group. This is like a just political machine, a lobbying machine from primarily sounds like gaming corporation executives.
Right. It is absolutely nothing to do with like actually improving the gaming space. It's not like a
What is
Sorry, what was that?
what is their official function, the ESA? Like what are they supposed to be doing, at least on paper?
You know what? We can look that up right. Let's see. ESA.
Their mission statement, or so it would be, right?
Entertainment Software Association. It is the trade association of the video game. This is from Wikipedia, by the way. Trade
The
association.
free encyclopedia?
The free encyclopedia at en.wikipedia.org.
Wow.
It's a trade association of the video game industry in the United States. It was formed as Interactive Digital Software Association, renamed. The ESA also organized the E3 in Los Angeles, California.
Oh.
So the concept arose from controversies about violence depicted in video games. And it seems like it's more or less been like kind of a representative of the entire games industry as a whole. You know, it's everyone puts their chip in, and it's kind of like, hey, you know, we have this organization now to speak on these kinds of issues.
Okay.
I would assume originally it did not start as this lobbying kind of thing. It was entirely like, hey, the government is overly censoring us, is overly what do you call it? Irritable. And it seems like as it's gone on, it's had less to do, maybe.
Sorry, you were cutting out a lot for me right now, actually.
Oh yeah, my internet is not great. Uh, Here, do you want to take a 5 minutes and see if it gets better?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we can just sit here for a second. Yeah. Because
okay.
I'm hearing very little of what you're actually saying right now.
Yeah, my connection is not great.
I believe.
Okay, it seems like it's good now.
Yeah, you're
Anyway,
not cutting out right now. I heard that at least. So
yeah. So it seems like originally it started off as fine, and then all of a sudden, as time has gone on, as the games industry has grown rapidly, it's become more and more corrupt. It's become more of a force that kind of pushes against the general public in favor of large gaming corporations. And let's see. So this whole thing started at a hearing in on the California AB 1921 Protect Our Games Act, when the ESA vice president Jennifer Gibbons stated that Minecraft and Call of Duty private servers are illegal. And when questioned by committee members, she further stated that the ESA considers it piracy, referencing pending lawsuits and USTR notorious market reports. That's a direct quote from Wikipedia, verbatim.
hmm,
So this is uh, this
bad.
is bad, and it really kind of showcases, I think, the state of consumerism in the United States in general, where it's like
Yeah, a little bit.
there are these organizations that are supposed to kind of protect the general public, act in the general public's best interest, but because they're directly funded by these massive corporations now, it's it's no longer in the public's best interest. It's in the interest of money.
Right.
And this is like, here's the thing. I am very much for the concept of like a third party, like just kind of activism group for video games that kind of says, hey, video games are art. We need to protect art, whatever. But this is
Hmm.
not that, right?
Right.
It's very much not that. Not anymore, at least. And
Because I mean, it's holding a position that is pretty antithetical to that idea, right? Because the idea that private servers and things like that are just bad in general is very antithetical to the idea of games being an art that needs to be preserved, that can be preserved. Because for some games and some pieces of art, in the medium of video games, without things like private servers, they cease to exist effectively in their entirety, right? So, yeah, very much not good. Very much bad, as the kids would say.
honestly, it was like when I actually learned about the context of this, that this was happening at California um, meeting, and it was not just a direct statement from the ESA. It was someone acting on behalf of the ESA, kind of in this other context. That really
Mm.
kind of floored me. you know, like why are you coming to this thing and spouting your bullshit? And another thing, if you watch the original clip, the people on the floor, the representatives, were so receptive to it. Like they immediately grabbed onto it and held onto that idea. And it, to me, at least, in my opinion, I think someone's paying someone off. you know? Like it felt scripted.
Hmm.
That's how much it was like.
So the people in this room, these were they, with for lack of a better, were they old white guys? For lack of a better word,
Not entirely, actually. I think there was like one or
'cause
two.
because my assumption would be just in general, like if someone walks into a group of old white guys in a meeting and says that, the thing that they're talking about that has to do with gaming, which none of them know anything about, obviously, is actually illegal and bad, I feel like they would just believe them,
Right.
Because no, like, not to sound dumb about this, but like most lawmakers do not give a shit about video games. Like that's not anywhere on their priority list, whether they're state or federal or whatever. And like, they also don't know shit about video games. So I think if anyone comes in and they says they are part of a video game advocacy group that represents, some of the largest corporations in the industry, and they just say something like that, I feel like a lot of people that are in government would just take that as fact, like on its face,
Right. And that's another thing is the person who was so receptive. It was, I believe, a Hispanic woman, kind of younger, 30s, maybe 40s. And that also kind of made me go like, are you being serious right now? Like people around that age group are generally from an era where video games kind of were more in the public eye,
Right.
And so it feels to me just disingenuous, the whole thing. I was not a fan.
Right.
Like, there are these people in government who are making attempts at good things. And there are people out there making attempts at good things. And then you have a lot of people who are holding them back. And I'm not going to go any further than that.
Yeah.
It's just not a good idea. But one of the things that the ESA talks about on their website is piracy, emulation, and obviously they are against it because, again, not in the interest of the public, not in the interest of art. It's in the interest of basic Nintendo, whoever, Sony, and like any average person would tell you that emulation is entirely necessary for the preservation of games as they exist. And
if it were not for the widespread use of emulation, a shit ton of games would effectively be lost media.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Absolutely. And something that's going to be making emulation a lot harder in your future is PlayStation's attempt to make discs obsolete. What do you think about that?
So we're moving into that, I guess. Okay, which is fine. So I feel like this was already kind of being telegraphed as early as when the PS5 was first announced. Because when the PS5 was first announced, you could buy the version that was like $80 to $100 more expensive that had a disc drive. Or you could buy the one that was cheaper and did not have a disc drive.
Which is ridiculous, by the way. Blu-ray players are like 50.
And like the PS4 never had a digital only release as far as I'm aware. I do not think that was ever a thing. I do not believe any Xbox console up to that point had ever had we just don't have discs version. This was the first time I think that any major console manufacturer had made a purely digital console that was like their actual like main console, So I think the writing was already kind of on the wall that PlayStation wanted to move away from physical media, and gaming companies kind of do in general, because, I mean, now, like, Nintendo cartridges are really just things you put into your fucking Switch that effectively just have a digital code that download to get you a download of the game, basically, right? Like, even when you are getting physical editions of some games, you are not getting a real physical copy of the game. You are not getting a cartridge or a disc that has the actual full game on it. You're getting something that will have your system download the game when you get it. So we are already in this point where like game companies are kind of like halfway sort of moving past physical copies. So I think it was kind of writing on the wall, especially with Sony, that they did this. It's not good,
Right.
it is obviously it is a situation where even if you were someone who, I will tell you, the vast majority of the games I purchase are digital. I mean, obviously we're on PC at this point, and like, yeah, there are like I don't think anyone buys physical games on PC very much recently. That used to be more common, but it's never been as common on PC as it was on, I think, consoles, obviously. But like, even as somebody who primarily buys digitally, this is still further enshittification of the industry, because it is still taking away something from people without getting anything back, right? Games are getting more expensive, and now we don't even have a physical game, you know? So even if you're somebody that buys digitally, this is really bad for you, because it just further proves the industry is continuing to enshittify the process of getting you the product.
Right. And it's something I think is kind of worth pointing out as far as games are getting more expensive is over the past like 20 to 30 years, the price of the dollar has gone down substantially, you know, inflation, all that. And games have always just kind of been $60. And I think
Yes.
really the games industry has been really bad about moving along with that. So right now it just feels very jarring. Suddenly games are $70, suddenly games are $80. And it's like, even though that seems reasonable now, really what should have happened is, you hear that train?
Oh, I did not hear a train.
Okay,
no.
Good. What should have happened is like 10 or 20 years ago, games should have increased by $5. And then like, 15 years ago, another $5. It's the fact that it's all happening at once is what's causing people to go, okay, this is shitty. This sucks.
Right. I mean, because there are situations now where like some Switch 2 games you pay $69.99 for the digital edition and $79.99 for the physical edition that's only maybe sort of a physical edition, you know? So like if you're paying $80 for a game, I mean that's a 33% increase from what you're used to, right? I mean, that is $20 more on a $60 product. So that happening all at once is super jarring. And like you said, if the price had gone up a little bit over time, yeah, people like when it went from 60 to 65, I'd have been upset, but like, $5 at the end of the day doesn't feel as bad as being like, hey, now it's $10, $15, $20 more all at once. So yeah, it's definitely something that has made it a lot worse, especially when you're not getting any kind of physical thing at all. For the most part, you're getting a code or you're just buying it on a digital marketplace. And you don't even get the cool little instruction booklet anymore. Like,
right,
it's, I don't know.
Right. There
you're
was
not getting
lot,
anything.
There's a lot to physical releases that really kind of add to the art of a game. You get literal art, first of all. But secondly, again, you get those instruction manuals. You get, there's a lot of games with instruction manuals where you can just feel like the love oozing off of it. It is, so well put together. It's so creative, things like that. And it's gonna be really shitty to no longer have that. I think I've seen nobody argue this, and it kind of baffles me because this seems like the easiest argument against physical copies is like the carbon footprint, because I have to imagine that in their heyday physical copies kind of ruined landfills and stuff like that, but nobody's arguing that, and I'm curious as to why. Like, was there some study done where it's like discs just don't have as much of an impact, or just are there not being enough discs sold to cause that sort of issue? Because
I have no idea. I not thought of that.
That sounds like a slam dunk, personally. If you were one of these corporations that's trying to get rid of physical copies. And from what I understand, physical copies are kind of like a loss leader in a lot of situations, where like it costs a pretty decent amount of money to print, and distribute and all of that. Oh, am I going to robot out for a little bit? Oh, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I lost you a little bit there, but I got you, I think.
Okay, yeah, we're back. So it feels, I don't know. like, I don't. Where are we? Like, why are we going with all of these arguments that are like, oh well, nobody cares about discs anymore when people obviously do care about discs. Oh well, the industry is just moving in that direction where it's like, okay, but there's also very much clearly this section of the fan bases, section of the entire consumer base, I guess you could call it, that very much wants to keep their physical discs, that very much wants to keep their fun little manual, their good boxes to
Yeah.
It's like nobody's arguing good points about it, like if you see the tweets, if you see the like people talking about it on streams, everyone's just talking about these really like nothing burger sort of like one-sided takes on it, and like it makes me feel like maybe I'm part of like some kind of polarized bubble, like even though I'm for this, I feel like there should be better arguments if it was going to be such a controversial thing.
I think what it comes down to is the arguments you're bringing up are like genuine argument, like talking about like the environmental impact or things like that. Like, yeah, I could see that being a good argument. The problem is that, like, if we're being honest, the people that are making these decisions aren't the kind of people that give a shit if it's a good argument. The people that are making these decisions to like cut off like physical media entirely at PlayStation only care about it from like a corporate profit standpoint and from an ability to yank ownership away from the consumer if they want to standpoint. So like they don't feel the need that they actually need to come up with any fucking like actual solution, because they don't respect the you or their consumer base or anyone but their own shareholders at all. So I feel like they don't actually feel the need to create like an actual good answer. They can just say, hey, we're not making physical discs anymore. You will never own anything, and suck my cock. And that's really all they feel like they need to say. At least that's a very cynical way to view it, but I think that's why they don't have any good arguments. Because like they genuinely don't feel like they need to. They know that they are one of the massive giants of the industry in Sony. And even if Sony or Microsoft are having tough times, they're still Sony and Microsoft. They can do whatever the hell they want, and they're still going to end up getting paid at the end of the day,
Yeah, their profit margins.
So I feel like they're just trying to cut corners.
Right. Their profit margins from last year will easily last them the next 10 years if it needs to be,
They will endure.
Yeah, and like, yeah, that's that. I think you're absolutely right. It's people.
It's just cynical.
It's
I know,
cynical,
yeah.
And I hate it. But you're right. You're right. That's probably it. And I don't know. It's like even the simps for PlayStation are kind of like, this is fucked up. This is stupid. I was, what was I going to bring up?
Like, no, I'm just sad.
Yeah, no, I'm sad. Oh, I'm going to cry over PlayStation.
What was the last physical game you bought, by the way?
Oh, goodness. It was Metroid Prime Remaster for the Nintendo Switch.
I guess mine would also be a Nintendo game, just because that's the only console I've had plugged in the past couple years.
Right.
Since I moved into my apartment that I've been in for like almost 3 years now, I've had like because I don't have like a PS5 or like a Series X or whatever, but I have like a PS4 and Xbox One that's been in a box forever. But yeah, it was definitely probably like the Pokemon Legends game that came out last year. I think is the last physical game. Nope, I got that digitally. What was the last? I think it was actually, God, it might have been the actual last mainline Pokemon game. I think was the last physical game I bought. So that's been many years at this point. I don't know. But I still think there should be, even if I'm not the one buying a lot of physical copies, I still definitely think it's better for us to have them than not, obviously. Right. Because some people love them.
Yeah. So I remember what I was going to bring up, and now I think this is a good point. So you mentioned how a lot of games just don't even have the game on the disc anymore. It's just a code, and the console phones home, downloads the game, whatever.
Yeah.
I was curious about the capacity of like a Blu-ray, because I know that a good amount of Nintendo games are still just on that chip, right? On the chip you put in, it's still just all there. The only thing it phones home for is like updates. Pretty cool. And as far as Blu-rays, which is pretty much what every game is on these days, you can get pretty good sizes. I'm seeing up to 50, 100 gigabytes in some situations. So like a standard disc size dual layer is 50 gigabytes for a Blu-ray. And I don't know about you, but that should fit most games, you know? Like,
well, the unfortunate thing is it doesn't. Some things these days. I mean, you ever try to download a game on Steam and it's like, let me clear up 115 gigabytes of space real quick?
right.
Some crazy stupid amount.
How big is Grand Theft Auto 5? It's 96 gigabytes. So, and that's with years of updates. That's with
right.
so much GTA Online stuff. And
But if you try to download like any of the big shooters when they, shit out their next game, like a Battlefield or a COD, it's always like some 100 gigabyte plus fucking monster, you know?
yeah. And so, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of in this position where there's still so many games that can be fit onto a disc or a chip, but there's also those handful of outliers that legitimately could not fit even if you tried, or might fit, but it would be so expensive it's not worth it. And so that's another thing where it's like, again, you have these things that are like decent arguments for like, oh, file sizes are increasing, people are demanding higher fidelity, whatever. And even that just doesn't seem like enough of a reason to discontinue physical copies. And to kind of maybe go a little on a tangent here, did you see how many different like corporations were just like shitting on Sony for doing this?
Yes, a lot of companies. I know Nintendo made some like posts about it or something. I think a couple different like gaming related companies were kind of, at the very least, like poking fun at them, if not just straight up kind of, shitting on them for it.
Yeah, I saw like at least 5 different posts that were like, that were kind of poking fun at this. I posted one on my server. I don't know if you saw it. The Republican Party discontinues physical senators.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Look, they're all digital now.
They're all digital now. We're going to ask ChatGPT. Going to give us an answer.
You can download Mitch McConnell today for only $15.99.
Oh, there was one from Domino's Pizza UK, discontinuing production of physical pizzas. Yeah, no, there were so many just from like not even gaming related like people. It's just all over the place. And this was the first time I think I'd ever seen like an outpouring from a brand or like multiple brands where I was like, damn, they're kind of right though. Like,
yeah,
like I was not expecting this to be such a universal, absolutely hated thing.
Right. I mean, because it's one thing to do like the way that Nintendo has done it, where some of their games are like more expensive for the physical version, which is still pretty crappy. But like to just be like, we're the thing, like, you know how people buy video games? Like you go to the store, you buy a video game. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
You think we sell games here? What are you talking about?
You get to look. You can look. Don't touch.
We sell licenses for the use of software until we say otherwise. That's what we sell.
Yeah, God, have you seen the stories that have been coming out about people who like own games on the PS3 and suddenly they just can't play them anymore?
Yeah, because like I know the same day that this happened, there was a bunch of movies that had to be removed from like the PlayStation Store for separate reason. There was some kind of licensing thing that had expired or whatever. But on the same day they're talking about, cutting off physical media, they are doing the one thing that people are very afraid of when everything is digital and yanking prepaid for non-physical media from the hands of consumers. Once again, I don't know. I think it was like an actual licensing deal where they lost the rights to be holding like
Right.
these films on their platform or whatever. But even still, like these were things that people could buy on the PlayStation Store that they digitally bought and now no longer had access to, which is obviously the biggest fear when you don't have physical media,
Yeah, it's
So that's a very bad look.
very bad look. Even if it is for movies, and movies are notoriously a much bigger cesspool of shit when it comes to licensing. Those licenses expire like nothing, and all of a sudden, like one disc manufacturer just won't be able to print them anymore, but they'll move to another disc manufacturer. And while that's normally like the consumer doesn't see any part of that, that's a huge thing within the movies, and it's literally moving all of your production, your physical media production, from one place to another. And like now all of a sudden people are having to deal with that, oh, we don't own the rights, oh, we don't have the rights to this song anymore because the contract said we'd only be able to license it for 5 years. Now we can't sell our game anymore, you can't even play it. It's like, oh my goodness, this is suddenly an era where everything is culminating into you can't own anything.
Yeah, there's actually kind of this weird example. So, and I actually just looked at this game on Steam, and it is purchasable now, which is interesting because I know a few years ago it literally wasn't. So the game is Alpha Protocol. It's like a kind of a spy spec ops sort of like RPG. It's made by Obsidian, and I played it on like the Xbox back in the day. But I know several years ago you could not buy it on Steam because the game had Turn Up the Radio, the song in it, and they for like apparently could no longer sell it for some licensing related issue. I guess you can buy it now, but like that was literally a thing for a while where this game was not available at all. You couldn't buy it at all because of licensing for one song that was in one mission of the game.
Yeah. And I think so
licensing stuff is just weird.
Yeah, licensing stuff is weird, and I think there's something to be said about the nature of licensing, especially with the music industry. Yeah, no, it's not good. Oh god, I'm looking at this here. The system requirements for this game.
For what game?
For Alpha Protocol. This is a 2010 game. I was kind of expecting it to be like 2013, 2014, but no, it's It
was actually a really fun game. I played it as a younger lad.
Yeah, it's
one of those, like you make choices, you kill people, you do spec ops things. It was pretty fun.
Is it more Tom Clancy or Hitman?
It's kind of a stealth sort of game, so it is kind of Hitman-y, but like it's not like you have a target. You're still like clearing full zones of enemies and things like that, like full levels. But some of the levels were also like you go to like a hub mission area, and then there's like 3 or 4 like missions you have access to, and some of them will be like sneak around killing people. One of them will be going and having like one conversation with one guy, and then you'll unlock more missions. And if you do missions in different orders, it'll impact certain crap, and it's just kind of a fun game. But I don't know. I played it like a long time ago, and then I remember trying to look at it on Steam several years ago, and you literally couldn't buy it, and I had to look up, and I guess it was literally because, like, when you're fighting this Russian mobster in his, like, base, he starts playing, like, Turn Up the Radio on his speakers during the boss fight, and that was the reason, apparently, that you could not buy the game for a while.
Yeah, it's... And I think, like, there is something that can be said to the public. Like maybe this is a moment for introspection, and maybe we kind of need to evaluate what we consider to be okay and not okay like maybe suddenly it's kind of a rude awakening now, but maybe there was a point kind of a few steps back where we should have drawn the line. Like maybe the point at which digital games, I don't know, maybe the point at which there was a digital console only, digital only console. Maybe that was the point where you draw the line. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think there needs to be some real serious evaluation of the standards of the public. And I think, honestly, we kind of need ESA too. Like, we need ESA, but not shitty.
Right.
Because there are people who care about these things, who care about these games. You have the Stop Killing Games movement. You have what was the bill that was on that California thing? And it's obvious that these are very impassioned people who are intelligent and capable of making good arguments for these things. But the problem is they're up against massive corporations. And the only way anyone is ever going to win against a massive corporation is, first of all, you don't. That's just kind of how it goes. Sorry.
I was going to say an even bigger corporation, like a kaiju fight.
Yeah, that's... what is it? The quote from Godzilla, "Let them fight." Anyway, first of all, you don't. Secondly, you need to organize. Like, the only way anything works against a corporation is class actions, and even that's like dubious. But like, you need class actions, you need people who are organized, you need like an actual game plan. What are we gonna do about this? You can't just have Twitter outrage. You need to have like, okay, what are we as the public going to do about this shit that we really don't?
Right. And unfortunately, the answer oftentimes is just kind of bitch about it and then not do much else. Right. Which is kind of what we're doing right now, actually.
What we're doing right now. But I think what I'm saying is there needs to be a call for organization and organization to form. Stop Killing Games movement is fantastic. I love everything about it. I think that would be a good place to start it. Like, if you were to build an organization, you would form it from the Stop Killing Games movement. Very similar to how ESA was formed out of the controversy of like gore in games in 1996. Like, you could do that here today. I don't know. I just think it's not okay to let all these things be decided at the hands of executives and people who have who have more money than God.
Right. How much money does he have, by the way?
Oh, he's got about 350.
Oh, okay. Not that high bar, I guess, to pass.
Listen, I don't know about you. I don't
I don't have more money than God.
Anyway, yeah, there is hope in my soul, in my heart of hearts, in my kokoro, that we can live in a future that is better than our present. And from our current position, we need to plan for that future. We need to look forward. We need to build. And that's my soapbox. That's my soapbox for the day, at least.
I mean, it's definitely a big issue. I mean, like I said, like almost everything I buy is not physical, right? Because I'm also a lazy fuck, but also like, I play on PC, whatever. But yeah, physical media is incredibly important and makes preservation of games a much, much, much more simple task than just having these purely digital games. and, you know, not having the choice to buy a physical edition of a game, or being sold a physical edition of a game that isn't even really a physical edition of a game, you know? So it sucks. It's just not a good situation.
Right. You know, actually, something I'm kind of curious about, how much does it cost to print a Blu-ray? Let's
Cannot be very much.
manufacturing station. You get pricing. Okay, so for 1,000 Blu-ray discs, it is from discmakers.com, which I don't know anything about them. A Blu-ray.
The name checks out.
The name does in fact check out. Let's see. So for a Blu-ray, with content, and with color printing, or we'll just go Blu-ray with content. Let's see. We'll say dual layer. So for 1,000 Blu-rays, it is $7,750.
It's more than I thought it would be, honestly.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like pennies up per print.
So it's like $7 is what you're telling me.
But this is only 1,000. I assume if you're buying
Right.
in much higher, you know, like
yeah,
10,
the higher
000.
volume you're buying, you know, is presumably, yeah, a better deal.
Right.
But I don't know. And I assume that, like, you know, if you are, you know, a massive game manufacturer, not only are you buying in bulk, but I assume you have,
Insider,
I kind of assume they have like some degree
deals.
of vertical integration where like they own the printing company or something. Or I assume they do. I mean, I don't know. If I was fucking Microsoft, I'd be surprised if I didn't, you know.
Yeah, kind of like how Walmart has a whole bunch of shit to make food, clothes, and bullshit.
Yeah. So I mean, I assume they're getting a pretty good deal on it. You know, I do not think that like the printing of physical media is any reason why any of these companies would be struggling at all. I do not think that there is a valid enough probably economic cost.
Yeah.
Like it is there, I'm sure, but like it's not if it wasn't there, then like they wouldn't do it, because obviously profit is all that matters to them. But like it's not a big enough hurdle that I think it would genuinely be hurting them in any real significant way. To be fair, like, what do I know? I'm some random guy, but like I find it very hard to believe that Microsoft or Sony would be struggling to get by if they had to buy more Blu-ray discs, you know?
Right. And again, just from this example, it's $7.74 a disc. And that's for a dual layer. That's 50 gigabytes. That's with color printing on front. You know, that's like, it's a little bit, not extravagant, but this is very basic. This is what you would expect from a Blu-ray.
Right.
Obviously the case is going to cost a little bit. I would assume that's very little, because that's just a pre-molded piece of plastic.
Plastic.
And a literally like printed thing.
That's got to be completely negligible, I would assume.
Yeah, that one probably is pennies on the dollar. Like, not even worth counting. But $7.74 per disc is still very little. I assume they can still make their profit margins if that's like how much it costs for an $80 game. But one of my favorite things, one of my favorite factoids, I guess, is when you buy a drink from, you know, wherever, a soda, you're not really paying for the syrup or the carbonated water or even the cup. You're paying for the license to that drink. It's insane to me.
That sounds dystopian as hell.
Yeah, no, that's where the cost is going, because like the cups are like at most 30 cents per. The carbonated water, fucking literally less than a cent.
That's water, bro.
It's water with someone shoving a tube up its ass to carbonate it. And then the syrup, again, pennies, nothing. It is all about like the license.
You're paying for the idea of Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
The concept of a Pepsi is very expensive, okay?
Pepsi, but as a concept.
The theoretical existence of Dr. Pepper is not cheap, okay?
There's someone I watch on YouTube who has a T-shirt that says Windows 95, but as a concept. I need Pepsi, but as a concept. Pepsi Cola. Anyway, I think that's enough dooming for this episode.
Okay, I mean, there's not really dooming in my topic. I think it's more of just an interesting look at where we're at in the industry. So I think it'll work out, because I want to talk about remakes and remasters, because those are different things, but we're kind of lumping them in together. Obviously, when you do a remaster, mostly just considered like a graphical improvement or just a collection of the games put together or whatever. Remake, obviously, there's a lot more gameplay or even story changes that can happen in that. But the point of either, right, is that you are taking thing that exists. What if we did it again? What if we,
Yeah.
And I think that the reason I want to talk about it is because it feels like they are very, very prevalent in the modern age of gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we even just had, amidst like, a billion Fallout announcements, Fallout 3 confirmed remaster, and New Vegas confirmed getting a remaster, right? Oblivion, obviously they shadow dropped that. Was that a few months? That was still this year, right? That was just several months ago, wasn't it?
If it was last year, it was at the very end of last year. I think it was like February of this year. I can't remember.
But like, there are so many games that have been remade. Obviously, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Which is 3 different fucking games. The final one is coming out soon. It was one of the big announcements at the Game Awards, or was it Summer Games Fest? I forget. But like, so many games are getting remakes, and I think that can be both very good and very bad, but also points us to kind of where we're at in the industry, because I think the thesis I'm really trying to get to here, like the point I'm trying to get to, is that gaming is not, it's not a young man's game anymore, is kind of it, really, because I feel like a lot of like the younger audience of gaming are not buying $80 games. Kids are not buying $80 games, Parents, maybe they're buying $80 games for kids, but like a lot of kids, like young kids that are playing games, are playing like freemium stuff. They're playing like Fortnite. They're playing Roblox,
Yeah, you can't.
So I feel like
you can't wash cars to buy a game anymore.
Yeah, I feel like we're just kind of reiterating on old and prominent IP, because the central audience that you're actually aiming for a lot of these big releases are actually the same, kind of the same people that you were like aiming for when these games came out originally, Yeah. Because the hobby has become more of a, like, I'm 27. I feel like I am kind of like the sort of like I'm just a 27-year-old single guy. I'm pretty sure that's kind of like the central audience for a lot of just generic games, right?
Right.
Just young adult, got nothing else going on, buy a video game, do whatever, right? Especially when you're remaking games like, you have like the Mass Effect Legendary Edition that I was telling you I was playing literally like yesterday. So that's not even a super new game, but like that's a collection of older games that they remastered and put out. The Spyro Reignited trilogy is a game that came out in like 2018, but that's a collection of old games that they put together. That one's more of a remake, but like graphically upgraded or whatever, shipped it out. Like there's so many games these days that are just either full-on remakes of games or just like remasters, and I feel like that is a non-insignificant portion of like the big releases we get these days,
Right. And I think there's like, okay, one thing I can understand about a remake is, like, say like the game just wasn't perfect, it received criticism for one thing or another, and like you just want to improve it. New graphics, new sounds, improve the mechanics, actually turn this game that wasn't great into something that is great, that will sell. And then what I really don't care for is like remasters that are just kind of cash grabs. It's like the same exact thing, maybe a little bit of like the additional compatibility.
The 5th version of Skyrim you bought, right?
Exactly.
Like you didn't need that one.
We did not need another Skyrim. And actually, one of the things that I saw, it's kind of old now, but do you remember when Borderlands 2 released the Ultra HD texture pack?
No, I don't remember that.
So that happened with Fight for Sanctuary, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It was literally just what it sounds like. It is brand spanking new, well, not new, but like textures that are less compressed and like more closer to the original images. And it just makes the game look a little better. And honestly, that's enough for most games, I feel. You know,
right.
I don't know. I don't see the purpose of like even Mass Effect, if it kind of feels like, did we really need that? You know?
The original Mass Effect is 20 years old, by the way.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, that's a little old.
Or I think it's 19. It's 20 years next because I'm pretty sure it was 2007. So it's like 19 years right now.
Even so, it's like not a bad looking game. It's a little crusty around the edges, the original, but like it holds up, I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, like I think the best part of the Legendary Edition is just that you get all three at once.
Right.
For like the price of a full game. I think that's good, but yeah, I also don't know that there was. I'm sure there was some degree of graphical improvement, probably, maybe. I don't know, actually. But it wasn't anything like, they didn't reinvent the wheel or anything when they, like, these are broadly speaking the same games that you played as a kid if you had Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3. It's really just a collection of them that they put together. And they didn't put it together for, a guy that's just getting into gaming. They put it together for, someone who played the games before and wants to play them again. And, like, to be fair, if also you haven't played it at all before, it is a good thing to get. So I think, like, remakes, remasters can be good for getting a new audience into a game as well. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like we are targeting the same audience that we were targeting 15 years ago, I feel like. Because as that audience has grown up, we're just going to keep marketing to them and just remake the stuff we're pretty sure they used to like,
Right. And, it totally fair, I think, if it's like a situation where it's like, because I've seen this, right, where it's like a person will say like, okay, I'm getting into this game for the first time because the enhanced version just released, because whatever. And it's not unlikely, but it's definitely not the majority, right? The majority of a player base that's going to buy those things is absolutely just people who already bought it, who just want this slight update, whatever it is.
Right. I will buy the Fallout New Vegas remaster the day it comes out. 100%. There's not a doubt in my mind I'm going to,
Right.
And that's because I've played Fallout New Vegas for hundreds of hours, and I think it's one of the greatest games of all time. Even though it sucks.
Fucking hate that game. Love that game. Hate that game.
It's buggy and broken and sucks, but it's the greatest fucking thing ever. I've played 228 hours of it on Steam. I played it a shit ton on Xbox back in the day. But as soon as it comes out again, I know I'm going to buy it, because I will buy any version of it,
Yeah, because it's a good game.
Yes.
I don't know. When it comes to things like the Oblivion remaster, I feel like it's harder to argue for remasters at that point, because like, to me, that remaster just didn't look good. Didn't really improve much. Like, there were a couple of little quality of life things, but it seemed like that existed, A, to sell more copies of Oblivion, and B, to kind of push people into newer computer hardware. Because that game ran really
not well.
So if like you,
I could not run it very well.
Yeah, no, if you were running anything less than like a 3080, it wasn't gonna be good for you. And I can't justify that. Like, in my mind, there's nothing I can think of, at least, where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great, that's fine. Even if I don't like it, other people will. Other people are gonna, be brought to it. Personally, I think it's far more advantageous to the general public if you just spread the word. If you go far and wide and say, I love this game, make a video essay, it's going to reach people as much as this new remaster. I don't know. Maybe I'm...
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. There is another reason why I think that remakes and remasters are so prominent these days. Because this was actually my original thought as to why they were a thing, as opposed to what I said earlier about it being more so towards appealing to the same demographic they used to. I think that's true as well. But I also think it is incredibly safe in many situations because, like, imagine, like, so the last big reveal of any kind of game showcase, it's not supposed to be high guard. It's supposed to be something really cool, right? And I think the best thing it can be is a new entry in a really popular IP, because that, as soon as you see the title, you're like, oh my God, they've made a new entry in, this series that I love. The second safest thing you can do is a remake of a beloved game from a beloved IP. Because if your big reveal is something that is a brand new IP, you have to sell people on that IP for them to be hyped about it, right? They have to be like, okay, this trailer makes this game look really good. I don't know a lot about it. The character design looks really good. The combat looks really good, whatever. But if you are selling people an established IP, whether that is a new entry or a remake, it is so easy to generate hype for that because people already know in their mind, they have their image of that IP. And like, if you have an IP that you really love, and then all of a sudden they haven't made a game in 5 years and there's a convention or there's a reveal, there's just a trailer, and all you really get is title, you're going to be hyped about it because it's something that you're familiar with enough to already establish hype with. And I think it is so volatile right now in the industry that sometimes you can make a game that people like and still get fired, that it is so important that like you make something that you feel is a safe bet, And I feel like that's unhealthy because it is better if we can generate new IP that are fun and interesting. But like, I think it incentivizes working off of existing IP and existing bases of popularity, because it's a rough fucking scene out there if you're like working for a major developer right now, So I think that's also a reason for it. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and that's worth bringing up too. The layoffs over at Microsoft that affected multiple studios, not just layoffs,
yes,
but shutdowns. It is insane that, like, to me, it reads like poor management, because if they were hiring all of these people expecting insane growth, like, and all of a sudden there just wasn't any growth, right? That's literally just poor management.
And like, there are times where it makes sense. Like, the studio that made the Gollum video game got shuttered, and that video game was not a success, really? Obviously, and was. I'm pretty sure it did.
I'm fucking.
Oh, you're saying really about it not being a success? Okay, I got you. No, but like, that makes sense because that game, and I'm sure. By the way, even in a game like that, there are probably very passionate and talented people that worked on it, and it sucks that they lost their job. But like, that game was terrible. Everyone thinks that game was terrible. It was not a commercial success. It was not a critical success, right?
Right.
But if we are in this situation, like you said, where you hire these people on, you're working for 6-7 years on a project, and it comes out, and it's, maybe it doesn't win Game of the Year, but it's very clearly like a prominent and successful title. And then 2 months down the line, so-and-so studio is now shuttering 2 of its offices and cutting 30% of its staff. Like, what can you do, right? Unless you're making the next Fortnite or something where you're making a complete money printing machine, your job is not safe. And that is pretty fucking terrifying,
Right. And I think it kind of makes me feel like there's this ethos in the gaming sphere where it feels like studios are hiring a bunch of people to make a game, and then all the people they hired get the fuck out as soon as you're done. Like, I feel like that's what's going on.
Then you're done.
Yeah, it's like a churning right? They're getting churned around, these developers, from place to place, game to game, and there's just no job stability anymore. You know, you might be a developer that works on a critically acclaimed game, but as soon as you're done with it, you get your paycheck up until it's out, and then no more. Like, you might get like severance pay, whatever, but you don't see any of those profits. You don't see anything. You don't see like any reward for your work. It's bullshit.
Right.
Yeah,
and like, I'd be remiss not to mention Black Flag, because it just got its remake. So that's a very good one to pull up, because, you know, it literally just got Assassin's Creed Black Flag resynced or whatever, just came out. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that, like, I'm sure people have had some issues with it, but I think it's, you know, been commercially successful so far. And I got to look this up to make sure, but I feel like there was some article or something that I saw about Ubisoft also making cuts, even though this literally just came out. I'm trying to see real quick.
Yeah.
Let me see.
While you're looking that up, similar thing happened at id Software. Literally the day of the DLC for Doom, the Dark Ages coming out, so many people were laid off. And like, there were a lot of tweets about people who were like, we had no idea that this was coming. This just completely came out of left field. And that's just heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, I mean, apparently 51 employees laid off at Ubisoft after Black Flag Resync launch. And, like, you just launched a remake of a game that people are like, right? Like, you just launched this. You know, how can you be doing this bad as Ubisoft? Well, I mean, it's because Ubisoft's been going downhill, obviously. But, like, you are one of the major gaming companies, you know? You just released, no pun intended, a flagship product for you. A remake of one of your most popular games. And I think it's been broadly liked for the most part, I think. And you're cutting people, you know? Like, it's so weird. Like, if you don't make a game, you're going to get fired. If you make a bad game, you're going to get fired. If you make a good game, you might still get fired. Like, it's so volatile, and it cannot be sustainable for these major companies. Because if every time we release a game, we're cutting a bunch of staff, you run out of people, man. Like, even if you're hiring on new staff, how are you going to feel safe being creative in this space if you know that as soon as your project crosses the finish line, they might just cut off your head, you know? Like, that is so ridiculous for the industry.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons It's one of the reasons I'm a big advocate for indie games. It's not just because, like, they're cheaper. It's not just because I feel like they have more soul or whatever. It's because I know the people, when I pay for an indie game, that money's going to the developer, right? It's going to the people who actually made the game, who actually cared about that game. And it's like, it's a more ethical purchase. Or at least it feels like that. And I just can't imagine that it feels great to pay for these games from studios where suddenly hundreds of people are being laid off all at once. I didn't buy Doom: The Dark Ages. I didn't buy the DLC, but I have to imagine if you're a big Doom fan, you know, if you bought that game and then suddenly you read that headline, that can't feel good. And yeah, it's like, really, from all sides, it's not good. From a developer side, you don't want to be a part of these anymore, and a part of these industries anymore, because it's just too volatile. And from the gamer side, it's like, well, everyone's getting fucking fired regardless of whether or not the game does well. I don't feel good about that. I'm just going to stop buying these games, and I'm just going to keep playing indie games.
Yeah, and you know that now, like, quality, talented, creative professionals are being kind of kicked out of the industry, you know? Because they're burnt out from these situations where, like you said, you put half a decade, or even, I mean, some of these games are in development for 10 years, you know? I think that's less common now, is like we had games like Anthem way back in the day that was like a decade-long game and was a disaster. but like these games go in development for years, and people put years of their life into it, and just to get just shafted so soon after it, and like even if the game sucks, that's gotta hurt. But like if you did in your mind everything right and you made a commercially successful product that is a work of art that you're proud of, and then you're still shown the door, how are you going to like do that and then be like, all right, I'm gonna go take a job at whatever now, you know? Like that's got to be hard to even try to do.
Got fired from Activision, time to go work for Ubisoft. And then I'll pencil in my work for Microsoft in 6 months from now. Like, oh, it's gotta feel bad. And I would love to I would love to actually like speak with developers at some point. There's got to be developers out there that are willing to speak about these subjects, even if it is kind of touchy. Like,
this?
Sorry, what was that?
I was gonna say, is this one of those rare situations where like Nintendo's actually a good company? Because I don't remember I do not remember many like big Nintendo layoffs, you know?
Yeah, it is one of those situations. Nintendo has always kind of been the Apple of video games, where it's like they're a little more like they've got a different ethos than most video game studios.
For sure, yeah. They are a different vibe than like the general, studios and big companies. Yeah.
Right. And that does a lot for them, but it also does some against them. One thing I've noticed is that Nintendo has very good management and is very stable. It's a lot less likely if you get hired by Nintendo that you'll just get shuttered, when you're done. And
right.
I've also heard that they have like legacy employees, like these people who have worked there their entire lives can just keep working there.
Yeah. You know what else I bet actually is a big factor in it? Is that a lot of the things that Nintendo works on are not like, hey, here's a big IP that we acquired. This is a Nintendo IP,
Right.
So like I feel like have probably a much better understanding of like the real expectations for something they're making, because like, a lot of these studios that are getting a bunch of people cut were acquired by Sony or acquired by Microsoft. And like some of them, yes, or like Doom is something that people know Microsoft for at this point because it has been entangled with them for a long time. But like a lot of these companies are not like, I guess you could say homegrown Sony or Microsoft products, where like all of Nintendo's big IPs, like if a Zelda game comes out, they know what it's going to be like because they've been making Zelda games since the beginning of time. Like they know what the expectation is, I feel like, and they know how to handle the release of these games, So I feel like maybe there's less volatility there because they just have a much more like they're much more familiarized with the vast majority of the IP that they're hawking,
Right. And it kind of like something interesting about the games industry that kind of only exists, from what I've seen, only really exists in the East now, is the idea of a games team, a continuous games team. Like we have the Zelda team, we have the Mario team, and like that happening within a company, and that just it doesn't really exist in the West anymore. It's more like, oh, you came from, id Software. You are just the id Software person.
We used to have the Overwatch team back when we were a proper country.
What's up? This is Jeff from the Super Mario Brothers team.
Right.
We've nerfed Luigi.
And McCree. And it's weird because like that feels like a good ethos, because those teams have to be led by people, right, that are kind of like a middle management almost, between the C-suite and the developers. And so you get these people that work very closely together and advocate for each other, and have this much healthier relationship, I feel. And that just doesn't really exist when it comes to like a big corporation and their subsidiaries, because the big corporation only ever sees the subsidiary as an asset. It doesn't see the faces, it doesn't see the people. It says, okay, we're losing money, all right, cut X amount of people from every asset we have.
Yeah.
And I think when you do have those more close-knit studios, it fosters just a much more reasonable relationship. One thing I've noticed is Nintendo, even though they don't have everything being done, by other studios, they will occasionally just let a studio completely, mostly unrelated from themselves, make a game. And those have been some of the best games. Metroid Dread. Have you played Metroid Dread?
No, I have not.
It is fantastic. Genuinely, one of the best games in the Metroid series. I loved it. I played it. I do not buy Nintendo products, Sockle. Not typically, at least. But I watched a little bit of a playthrough and I was like, damn, this looks good. And I went out and I literally bought a Switch for that game, practically.
Wow.
Yeah, it feels to me like they have these good relationships because they're tight knit. They know their CEOs are the people who made games.
There's just a degree of competency, yeah, and I think maybe understanding of the industry, and that maybe some other CEOs don't have. Because I don't know, I CEOs seem to be idiots, a lot of the time.
Right.
Not to just be that guy, but I don't know, but it does feel like. By the way, Nintendo does awful things, just so we're clear. We've been very pro Nintendo the past 10 minutes, which is interesting because they do make some very good products. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but harmfully litigious company, does a lot of bad stuff, etc. But they're not incompetent, and hey, that's
right.
half the battle.
Both things can be true, it's there's nuance here
mostly.
Yeah. Right, and they have as much shit as any other game company. It's just that they do that one thing very well. They have those relationships that are very good. And I think that's something that a lot of
I do think, out of the three. Sorry, I was gonna say that I do think out of the three big console companies, Microsoft, Sony, and I said console in quotations, I guess you couldn't tell, obviously, but Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, I do feel like Nintendo is very firmly, I feel like, broadly in the best position out of any of them, just in general, because they're not very incompetent, I think,
Right.
That doesn't say anything about their moral bearing as a company, but just financially and position in the industry, I think they're in the best spot, probably.
Yeah, and I think I've read about this a lot, actually, specifically how Nintendo operates. They operate with kind of the assumption that even if the next 10 years are a loss, they need to be able to pay their employees. And I think that's a fantastic idea for a company as big as Nintendo. It shows a level of responsibility that clearly other companies do not have. And I don't know, I can respect that. Even if they're shitty about emulators, about fan games, they make some good decisions.
And they can do it too. I mean, they understand, if they were to have the vast majority of their projects underperform for the next decade, they could afford to pay everybody because they're Nintendo. They have the best IP, and not best as in quality, but like the best collection of IP as far as like cultural impact, iconicness, and just general everybody knows it of any company in human history. Like by far, their collection of IP is more recognizable than anything in human history, I would say. And I do not think that's an exaggeration.
Right.
They got Zelda, they got Mario, they got Pokemon. People know that shit, you know? Like, they could fail forever, and their merchandise, all the other things that they sell would absolutely cover even if their main things, their games were struggling for a decade, you know?
Right. Like you say video game, first image in like 90% of people's mind is Mario.
Yeah.
And they've just built that for themselves. They were in the right place at the right time and had the right people, and they made this fantastic thing happen. And now they're really shitty about it.
Yeah. And they will sue you if you put Mario anywhere.
Yeah, you draw that picture of Mario.
It makes me think of like, remember when there was the child that had Spider-Man on his grave, and like Marvel and Disney like sued the family for it. I like that. Like if you did that with Mario, like that feels like something that Nintendo could do. They're very litigious to a crazy degree, but hey, you know, they know their stuff at least.
Yeah. In fairness, though, Nintendo does have boundaries. We did talk about those projects, the what is it, the decompilation projects. Nintendo's been fairly okay with that. Their line that they've drawn is you just can't distribute the games themselves. You can have all this software, you can you know, do all this stuff, just as long as people have to have their own game. And that's they've held good on that, at least.
And one thing I would say that we've kind of just gone into talking about Nintendo, but I actually think there's a lot of interesting stuff about Nintendo. But one thing that I guess is kind of in their favor about at least being anti-emulation, which is by and large a terrible thing to be, emulation is obviously, even as we discussed earlier today, very important for the industry. One thing to their credit, they have at least literally been in the process of putting emulators of their old systems with a library of games on their systems, like on the Switch. Which, at least at that point, I can kind of see why you maybe have some kind of issue with like people distributing, you know, ROMs and emulation and stuff like that, because it is something you're actively doing as well, even if it's not obviously the full library of like N64 games or Game Boy games. But like they're at least preserving some of their older titles at the very least in like the Switch and Switch 2 like emulators for the older consoles that they have built in there.
Yeah, and I mean, you could argue that the only reason they did that was so that they could still be hard on emulators, but I think it kind of works both ways, where it's like, yeah, maybe they're only doing it so that they can continue to be litigious, but at the same time, they are providing, right? They're providing at least a small token, I guess you could say, by allowing those games to be continually playable. I tried the emulators.
I did personally.
Yeah, I tried those emulators.
You go first.
Yeah. Okay, they're not great. At least the Nintendo 64 one, it feels really weird if there's ever a game that needs like the C stick, or not the C stick, the C buttons. Ocarina of Time being a very good example. Like you can't really press C right easily for some reason. And I just like, even that, it's fine. You can play the games.
Right.
Anyway,
I was going to say, though, I even kind of put my money where my mouth is, because I have said before that, like, look, I've emulated some games in my time. I know, it's crazy. You know, I've emulated a game here or there. I know, right? But like I have said, like, yeah, if some of these games were like, if I could just buy these, I would buy them. And then like when they put Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Switch and you could just buy them, I'm like, you know what? I said I would. So I fucking bought it. I bought one of them and I played through the whole thing on Switch just to say I did. So like, at the very least, they're doing more for game preservation than like some companies are. Like they're doing at least kind of the bare minimum to say they're doing something. You know, I don't know.
Right. Gabe Newell puts it really succinctly, and he says piracy, the main driving force behind piracy, is one of two things. A, you literally just can't access the game otherwise. And B, the pirates offer a better deal. And that's kind of the ethos behind Steam, is we need to have enough value add in our platform so that people don't just resort to piracy. Because people are willing to buy games. People will buy games, surprisingly. It's not a money issue. It is more often than not an accessibility issue. And yeah, I think it's really telling that a lot of the more litigious companies don't seem to understand that, and yet Nintendo kind of does now. It's weird that this company, which has been really tone deaf in the past, suddenly kind of gets it. And yet, like, Microsoft and Sony just kind of don't. Like, there's a lot of games you just can't play. You know, there's no backwards compatibility. Right. There's no whatever. Like, can you even play the original Halo on a modern Xbox these days? Like, you might be able to play Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, I was going to say the Master Chief Collection is probably on Series X, I imagine.
I just remember when the Xbox 360 came out, one of the sells was that there were specific games that were backwards compatible, among them Halo and Halo 2. And
of course, if you had a PS2, you could play any fucking PS1 game. You just put that bitch in there, you know?
Yeah, it literally just worked. And like nowadays, none of that. And with digital, even worse. It's...
Now, I will say, like, there is... I remember some of your, like, digital library on, like, from 360 to... From, like, Xbox 360 to Xbox One. Definitely some of your digital library was, like, playable on one, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it was, but I know at least some of it was.
I remember I was... Oh, goodness. I can't remember if it was I bought it digitally or if I literally just had the disc and put it in. But you could play Borderlands, the original Borderlands, on Xbox One after a certain update that basically enabled that. It was sometime, I think, in like 2014. Yeah, there was this giant update that released that was basically like, okay, fine, you can play Xbox 360 games, I guess. And, like, I don't know, it seems like if they're able to do that in software, it's kind of ridiculous that it's not just the standard.
Well, then you wouldn't buy the Xbox Series X version of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Anniversary 10-year special ultimate game of the edition.
Damn it, Todd.
2.
You got me again.
You got me again. Give me 5. Give me 5 of them.
And I think that really is one of the cruxes, is that like, even though people are willing to buy games, there's also a lot of people that just don't have boundaries, don't have healthy boundaries with games. And so they're willing to buy these remakes that don't need to exist, these remasters that don't need to exist. Like, even if they already own the original, they'll just buy it again.
Right.
And that's kind of voting with your wallet sort of stuff. We've covered that, I think.
I mean, it's kind of how, like, a lot of the major sports games work, to where, like, you know, they suck and they're like microtransaction hells, and then they get bought anyway, and people buy the microtransactions. But, like, it's that same kind of thing, you know, like when you just accept the bad practice, it becomes common practice, you know?
Right. Funny you say that. When I opened up Steam to look up that game we were talking about earlier, I saw, I think it was NBA 2, or no, NFL 2K 2K27 and literally it's front page of the Steam store, and it says reviews mostly negative. It's like, oof.
It's just the way it is.
Oof. And another thing, the number, you know how like the number next to the reviews indicates how many reviews it's gotten? It was like 20,000. That's a lot of reviews.
I feel like those games are always mostly negative reviews. Like, nobody ever says good things about them on Steam.
I'm looking at EA Sports, FC26 mixed reviews, 25,000 reviews.
Wait, yo, that one's 80% off.
It is. It's
Well, you could buy it for
$18.
Included with EA Play for $5. Who the fuck has EA Play in 2026? There's no way people are getting EA Play.
Is that their like launcher?
And other best join now for instant access to this and other best loved titles from EA, plus a 10% member discount on member only content. Is it like an OnlyFans thing? Do I get like
Do I get the nudes of
what's
EA?
the member only content?
You get to see the uncensored nudes of John EA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get to see the nudes from the guy that says EA Sports. It's in the
your
game.
ass.
Yeah.
Gosh, I could go down a rabbit. I'm looking at the Steam front page now. That's a whole rabbit hole I could go down for hours, but
it's a scary place.
It is a scary place. I at some point I enabled like sexual content just because.
Oh yeah, no, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and I kind of
so
like laughing
much of
at it occasionally.
No, yeah, like as an aside here, as we're getting towards the end, I will tell you, like, if you just go to new and upcoming releases, you will see the most unhinged, hyper-specific, not safe for work games. Like, it'll be incredibly degenerate to one specific person's tastes. And it'll be so, like, just the weirdest fucking, like, word salad titles ever.
I can't believe my little sister has a hemorrhoid. A lovely visual
Christ.
novel for 2 or some shit like that. It's like a super long title.
Gross fucking weird shit.
Yeah.
And like just but hey, I mean, I get like that's somebody's favorite game.
You know what?
They're in jail, but it's somebody's favorite game.
I think I'd rather that than Steam being overly puritanical about stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would rather have Steam have some really degenerate, weird shit on it, and I can just be like, okay, that's weird. Go on. That was kind of funny though, but like, I'm gonna go on to the next thing. Than it being like, yes, we are going to have a very rigid system where you are not able to put anything that is not to our sensibilities on the platform. Yeah.
No PP, no vote.
That being said, I've still seen some shit come up in queues that probably should just not be on Steam. But for the most part, I am okay with I'm okay with it having like not safe for work content because a lot of them are very funny title wise.
Yeah,
and I think you're self-aware of how stupid they sound.
Speaking of games on Steam, have you seen the game Gamble with Your Friends?
Yes.
It's not amazing, but I know people who are really into it, and it's like, how blatant are we going to get with these friend slop games?
What, you don't want to just go? You don't want to gamble with your friends? Is that not a thing you want to do with your friends? Is just go and gamble?
Not really. Yeah, like,
why not?
I've played it a few times, and the way it always goes is you play a couple rounds, you try to get a profit, and then someone fucks it every single time.
No, I fucked it really hard when I was playing with some friends. We actually ended up rigging the Peggle machine because you can shove a baseball bat into it.
Oh, wow.
To like direct the pegs to where like they're supposed to, like if you like work the physics of the baseball bat, you can make it so like the pegs will always go into the middle, and then you could just fucking you can kind of just cheese the game with that. So we found that out and did that. But like, yes, when we were just playing regularly, I ended up like just doing, I think I was just mashing the fucking like Wheel of Fortune on the max bet or whatever, and I lost like all our fucking money.
Yeah, it's like, and here's the thing about gambling, right? You're not gonna win. That's kind of
you're just trying to tell people that so you could keep all the gambling for yourself, probably.
I am big gamble.
You just don't want anyone else to win big.
I don't know. It feels weird to me. And I played it some offline just so I could kind of see what the game is about. And it really doesn't change. It literally is just kind of like a numbers go up and you get access to a couple more games, and that's it. Yeah. When it's over, it's over. There's no like meta progression. It is purely, hey, hang out with your friends and gamble. And that just, I don't know. It's not a great game, in my opinion.
How dare you?
How dare I? He hates indie games. He hates indie games.
This guy hates creativity. He hates games with soul. He hates
right.
He hates themes and such.
So we've talked about it a little bit. The Fallout 5 was recently confirmed by Bethesda.
Yes.
And alongside that, we got news of a 3 remake and a New Vegas remake. Funny thing though, in that they said that ES6, Elder Scrolls 6 is currently their main priority.
Sure it is.
Yeah. I mean, it probably is, but
we all know what he really wants to do, and it's not make Elder Scrolls 6. You can't hide it from us, Todd. We know that Skyrim behind your back. We know that's what's back there, Todd.
What's in the box? Oh, it's Skyrim again!
Skyrim! Yay! Woohoo!
Yeah, like that's. I'm betting we get at least one more Skyrim re-release before ES6 comes out. At least one. But Fallout.
Well, it's going to turn 15 years old soon, isn't it? Yeah, it turns the 15th anniversary edition's got to come out this November.
Yes, November 11th.
Got to get the 15th anniversary. Let's go. Skyrim was released closer to the founding of Google than today's date. Well, shit.
Don't say things like that.
That's a post from 9 months ago.
Jesus Christ. One thing I wanted to touch on is we've talked about New Vegas remake. They are remaking 3 as well. Or is it remaster or remake?
I believe it's more of a I think it's gonna be a remaster. I think it's just gonna be like probably some kind of graphical improvements, and that's probably it. I don't think it's like an actual remake, you know?
Yeah,
which is probably for the best, honestly.
Probably. I was talking about this with some people. I think like remastering New Vegas is fine. 3 kind of needs a remake, in my opinion. Like it did not hit well with me. At least personally, I was never as big a fan of Fallout 3 as I was New Vegas. In fact, I think it's worse than Fallout 4, which is kind of sacrilege, but I think it's true. Yeah, I like that game. It looks like crusty Vaseline that's been smeared around under a fridge for a while.
It's green and New Vegas is yellow, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, New Vegas is set in New Mexico, after all. You got to have the yellow filter.
Yeah, clearly that's where it is, and that's where all that's why it's yellow, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's Fallout New Mexico, it's in the name.
Yeah, New Mexico. You know? You've been in New Mexico?
Yeah, but look, I'm a snobby Fallout New Vegas elitist, so I'm never gonna say that. Yeah, you should be more excited for 3 than it. No, yeah, no, 3 is whatever. You see, it's a Bethesda game, so the writing sucks. Obsidian made New Vegas, so I can be an elitist and say it's got fucking great writing.
Right.
Like when Yosuke said he won the lottery. I mean, that was great. That was great writing.
I was also talking with people about how in that announcement they said they were working with Obsidian Studios to make something new. I think was in the announcement. Mm-hmm. And I kind of had to remind people who were talking about this that Obsidian today is probably very different from the Obsidian that made New Vegas. I mean, we've been talking about the volatility of the games industry, and I have to imagine that touches pretty much every company. And I think, I don't know, people should not expect so much from Obsidian. What was that game? The Outer Worlds really did poorly.
I thought the Outer Worlds was fine. I don't know. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah, me too. I enjoyed the visuals to an extent. I enjoyed kind of some of the stuff. It felt a little heavy-handed, I think. But overall, fine. Whatever. I kind of feel as though anything they work on now is probably going to be in that same vein, where it's not going to be great, you know? Even if it is really good, I don't think you can ever expect New Vegas 2.
New Vegas 2?
He said New Vegas 2, that means it's happening!
I do think some of the original people are still working on it, though. Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure Josh Sawyer is still there, and he's like the Obsidian guy everybody always points to.
Right, yeah, you've got your figureheads, but it takes a village, you know?
Right.
And I mean, I could be totally wrong here, right? I
think is Tim Kaine? I think Tim Kaine's working on this game.
I'll admit, I do not. I don't stalk everyone who works at every studio.
Why not?
I really should. I think that would be a good idea. But I do think, like, generally speaking, maybe things are probably different. Maybe the writers, maybe, you know, designers, level designers, whatever. I think it'll be noticeable at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there are a lot of, like, I'm pretty sure that there's at least a handful of some of the same, like, head creatives still there. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's always going to be a difference. I mean, I remember lamenting the state of BioWare, you know, a company that when I was growing up, I believed to be like the gold standard of gaming because of Mass Effect mostly and like early Dragon Age games. But even by the time that they're making like Dragon Age Inquisition and things like that, there's already been a lot of turnover. Obviously, they've become a subsidiary of EA at that point, well before that point, you know, so there's always so much turnover at studios, and that is sucky, but I do think that there is at least a fair amount of people that are some of the same creatives that worked on the original one there. But I mean, also, like, they've changed. I mean, it's been a long time. This is one of those good old 2010 video games, you know? I mean, it's an old-ass game, so it's...
Is that when New Vegas came out?
It's going to be different, but it's probably 2010. It might be before that, honestly. I have no idea. When
2010.
Oh, yeah. Well, would you look at that?
Yeah, I would have guessed like 2008, 2009, but yeah, that's cool. Oh wow, sorry. You search Fallout New Vegas and you get all of the things talking about the remasters. One thing I will say is going to be a net positive, I think, for people who enjoy Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3. Is that it's going to be on the new creation engine, ideally. Meaning, hopefully, it doesn't crash nearly as often. Which, like, have you played New Vegas a bunch lately, or has it?
Would have been like, I mean, maybe even, I think it was like last year that I got back into it because I was trying to get all the achievements. Let me see when I last played it. May 3rd. No way, that's this May 3rd.
I thought it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember.
But I don't know. I mean, I've played it within the past couple of years at the very least.
Yeah, so...
And frankly, like, I don't have a lot of crashes when I've played New Vegas. Like, I've played 230 hours on PC. I've probably only had my game like super just like shit out on me like a handful of times, but it's New Vegas, so like shit does just mess up because the creation engine is a very stable and functional and very good thing that works well all the time. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I haven't had near as many issues as a lot of people did. I think the PS3 version of the game was like the least stable. I remember people always used to say, like the PS3 version of New Vegas was like, shit. I don't know if that was actually the case, but I remember hearing that.
Yeah,
but on PC, I haven't had that many issues.
So there's a streamer I follow who we were talking, or we weren't talking, but their chat was talking to them about trying to get them to play a New Vegas, and like he said he tried to set it up and just couldn't get the game to launch, or could get it to launch but couldn't get it past the menu, I think it was. And it was like, okay, maybe this game needs some
little TLC,
TLC, a little modernization. So I think that's going to be a relatively positive thing to look forward to, you know, because again, there might be new people, who never played the game before, just want to experience it. I hope they keep the glitches in. It's always what I'm looking forward to. I want to be able to fucking launch myself with a revolver.
Yep.
I want to be able to just fuck up everything with the caps from the casinos. Just lay it on me. I don't know. Is there anything you're really hoping that they change from New Vegas or 3?
So there is a bug in New Vegas that if you press continue instead of new game, it just breaks sometimes.
Oh.
It doesn't happen very often, but like the optimal way to load your save in New Vegas is to click new game and then immediately load into your actual save, because sometimes if you just press continue, it will just stay on the loading screen forever because it's a very good game.
I think I've encountered this. Yeah.
So that's something that I think exists on literally every version of the game. I remember it I don't think it happened to me as much on PC as it did on Xbox, but I distinctly remember it happening growing up on Xbox, and it's happened at least a couple times on PC. I usually do just still press continue because, like, you know, it fucking usually is fine and it's just the simplest way to get back into my save. But that's something I would like them to fix. I guess, you know,
right.
Make the continue button work.
I think bug fixes are generally kind of a given. I'm more asking about, like, is there anything gameplay wise that you think should be changed? Like, do you think there should be a perk every level? Do you think, you know, something like that?
I think the progression is fine because I think it's pretty good. You know, you get skills, so you're still getting something in levels that helps with checks and other stuff. The perks are good. I think the gunplay in 3 in New Vegas has always generally been very dog shit. And that's somebody that uses guns on most every playthrough. Like, the one thing, like, the gunplay in 4 did feel better. Like, that is one thing I would always say about 4. I do think its guns felt better, but I also think, like, they still don't feel great because it's still, like, you're playing, like, Skyrim with guns. It's not like, you know, Bethesda's gameplay, like, combat-wise has never been, like, incredible, I think. But I don't know. I mean, it's always felt very stiff and, like, not super great. And I've been fine with that. But I mean, if they did make some, like, you know, just general gunplay changes and improvements, I wouldn't mind it too much. I do think it's really going to be broadly just the same thing, and I'm mostly fine with that. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like really just you got to clean up, just clean up some of the bugs, make it a little bit prettier, and I think that's really all I need. I mean, I'm such a bitch for this game that if they just said Fallout New Vegas Remastered and just told me it looked better, I'd probably just buy it anyway. And if it ended up looking basically the fucking same, because this is like, I think probably, I've said it before, but probably like if I made my top 10 all-time list, I mean, like, this is the only American game I think that is going to be like it's the highest rated American game I'd have on there that isn't like Weeb Slop from Japan or something, you know?
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, this is absolutely my favorite Western-made video game of all time, probably.
Yeah, I definitely agree about the gunplay. It's none of the guns feel very punchy. You know, everything just kind of feels like it's a pea shooter. I think the sounds play heavily into that, but also there's like not really recoil. There's not really like there's no feedback from the guns, it feels, you know? And the few guns that do have it are like the antimatter rifle, you know? It's like the stuff that's so overpowered late game-esque that you basically never see it. So yeah, I could absolutely see that. I think, yeah, that if I had to choose something, that would probably be it too. Other than that, I think they need to leave that game the fuck alone.
Yes, I have to continue to be Yuri Lowenthal. I have to. That's got to happen. I mean, they're not going to change into the voice work. Fucking, there's a lot of people that are dead. So I mean, like Mr. House's voice actor's dead as hell. So
oh fuck.
Like I assume it's all the same audio. So I mean, yeah, we will presumably still be Yosuke.
Oh, what if they remaster it with AI?
They give us AI Yosuke?
AI Yosuke?
I don't think the world's ready for that.
Oh, you're not ready for the AI Yosuke strike.
Oh. But no, I mean, I think like I'm gonna buy it, you know, even if it's a fucking full price. Like if they're charging 70 fucking clams for this thing, I know I'm still gonna buy it, you know. I hope it's not. It shouldn't be 70 clams, you know.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna buy it if it is.
I think a reasonable price would be $40, maybe $50.
Yeah, like $40 would be fine. I think, you know, like this is a remaster. It's not going to be like a full on remake. It's going to be a visually improved, probably version of a game from 2010. You can charge me $40 for it, and I'll be fine. You know,
right? I probably won't buy it myself because I don't have faith that my graphics card will be able to run any game from this year. But I will enjoy watching other people play Fallout New Vegas for the first time. That's what I'll say.
You know, Boone is 26 years old.
Who?
Boone, the sniper character in New Vegas, he is apparently only 26 years old.
Fuck.
Even though he is an old 26. He's like the youngest companion, which is so weird because he is like, you know, a grizzled sniper guy, but he's apparently, it was a rough his early 20s were rough, man, apparently.
I mean,
yikes.
I mean, you kind of learned that in the game.
Well, yeah.
But I don't know. I think anyone who experienced that shit would probably gain a decade just instantaneously.
Yeah, also Arcade's middle name is Israel.
That aged well.
Yeah. Anyway, so this has been the Shock and Cold show, everybody. We've been going on for, you know, about an hour and 53. I mean, I feel like I think we got just about everything out of our system. Yeah.
So as we're ending off here, I would like to hand it off to you. Say, hey, Shock, what games are you playing right now? What's your poison this week?
So I am, since, you know, talking about remakes, remasters, I've been playing Mass Effect Legendary Collection because very, very iconic game for me in my childhood. I'm on Mass Effect 2 right now, so I've been playing that. Right after I got done playing Spyro Reignited again, and I have gotten almost all the achievements on that. I need to go back and get a couple more achievements in there, but yeah, I've been doing that.
That's cool. I've obviously been playing more Satisfactory. That's still going on, but whenever I feel like closing that game, occasionally I'll do something that I talked about last episode. I'll boot up a Call of Duty and I'll play some zombies. I've been really enjoying Black Ops 2 zombies with the Plutonium Project stuff. It's been really fun. So that's been my prerogative.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any last words you want to say before we say goodbye to the good people?
Don't look up Arcade Ganon's voice actor's political beliefs.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.